So I think pretty much everyone's heard of Bermuda before. It's a place full of sun, beaches, and incredible natural beauty. But today we're going to be going off the beaten path to places that most people were not even aware existed. We'll be kayaking to a few separate islands off the eastern coast of Bermuda to explore the crumbling, overgrown ruins of a 400-year-old British colonial fort that once protected the colony and that on one occasion even single-handedly defended the island against a Spanish naval attack.
Castle Island and the small islands around it are located just a short distance off the main island's coast, and yet they hold so many historical secrets and relics, including colonial shipwrecks, ruins, and even the oldest surviving English fortifications in the entire New World. So today, we're going to be paddling out in order to find and explore them.
Wow, got the whole beach to ourselves here. That is incredible. The water is just so clear. You can see right down to the bottom. Oh, there's a humongous fish. There's fish everywhere. Yeah, there's like fish and wildlife everywhere. It is incredible. This is the first island in a chain of islands that we need to go through to get to our destination of the abandoned forts. The water is just so clear. You can see straight to the seafloor here. I don't know if you can see those fish there. They are a neon blue almost. Incredible. The crazy colors of the fish. So that's a shipwreck on this island. And it's pretty big too.
Bermuda was first originally settled by England in 1612, and the settlement of St. George, then called New London, became the first permanent town here. Since the city was located on the north side of St. George's Harbor, it could be accessed directly by a few shallow channels from the east that were originally only suitable for small ships. This gave the small group of islands just south of Castle Harbor an enormous strategic value for the island's defense.
This is amazing. There it is, that's the island we're after. You can see the forts, at least 2 of them. There should be 3 forts on the island. There's one up there, there's another one down here. And the other one should be on the other side. There's the walls of the fort. You can see why they would have wanted to build forts on these islands. They look pretty inaccessible to the enemy. All right, we're coming in for a landing here. Okay, so we just landed on the island. Now let's see if we can get to the fort. Beautiful view.
During the days of these forts, the most feared enemies of Great Britain were first Spain during the 1600s, then France, then the United States, and then finally Germany during World Wars I and II. So we can see why fortifying Bermuda against enemies has been a deliberate British policy from the earliest days of this colony. In line with this policy, permanent fortifications were first raised on Castle Island around the year 1612 under the instructions of Governor Richard Moore.
There are so many spiders, but other than that, it's not too bad. Wow, there's one of the fort's walls right there. Beautiful. It's one of the larger forts here. Incredible. Somebody left us a ladder here, thank you, to get on the tower. Wow. This is an amazing view down to the ocean. I can see why they would have liked it. You can see any ship for miles. Whoa. This is the original stone tile from hundreds of years ago. Amazing. Might be the highest point on the fort. Maybe even on all the forts. It certainly looks like it. We started way over there and we kayaked all the way over here. There's another fort over there, Fort Bragman. It is quite the view.
these fortifications on Castle Island and the small surrounding islands are actually now the oldest surviving English New World fortifications, thanks primarily to their being constructed out of stone, whereas other contemporary English fortifications on the North American continent would have normally been built out of timber and earth at that point in history. The fortifications here were also the first English coastal fortifications in the New World. This specific fort that we're currently exploring is known as Devonshire Redoubt, and it was built in 1621 to help protect shipping in Castle Harbor. Interestingly enough, this fort was actually constructed on the site of an earlier wooden fort which had burnt down 2 years earlier when the soldiers were partying a little too hard and got careless after firing a cannon in celebration, leaving a burning lint stock on the wood, causing the entire fort to burn down to the ground just when the governor happened to be visiting to inspect the island's forts. We can only imagine the governor's furious reaction when he saw his precious wooden fort engulfed in flames. Hence, the governor returned 2 years later and built the current fort that still stands today.
Wow, there are just so many walls, so many ruins everywhere. It's hard to find and explore them all because they're so overgrown and there's so many of them all over the island. Wow, what's that? It's a deep hole. I'm not sure what it's for. Some of this seems to have just been carved out of the rock or coral here, rather than built by bringing stone over. They just made the best out of the current rocky geology or geography of the island. Yeah, some of this stone looks native and some of it doesn't. So they combined both local and foreign elements into this construction. It's like a medieval castle in the middle of Bermuda. So this is incredible.
All these forts originally would have had their own supporting buildings, homes, and other structures. And despite centuries of exposure to the elements, the forts are actually still in remarkably good condition today, thanks in part to Bermuda's unique situation. You see, there was a serious lack of scrapping industries in Bermuda to melt the metal in military weapons and fortifications, and the geographical location of Bermuda meant that it was far away and isolated from the rest of the world and its regional wars. Which means that while fortifications, carriages, guns, and other materials would have gotten melted down elsewhere to be reused in combat, those in Bermuda actually survived and ended up becoming amazing historical artifacts.
So this has been incredible so far. Let's go check out the other forts. Okay, I think we're here. Wow. What is this? Let's check this out. Wow, some kind of room here. Insane. A dungeon or something? No clue. Not sure what this was all about. Looks like a dead end. This is just insane. There's the other fort. Whoa. This looks like some kind of Mayan ruin or something. Whoa. Not sure what this was, but it's pretty cool. Maybe a bathroom? A toilet? Not sure.
The structure that we're currently exploring is known as Landward Fort. Landward Fort was built in the 1650s on Southampton Island in Bermuda. It was one of many fortifications built to protect the entrances to St. George's Harbor and Castle Harbor.
Wow. How is this so well intact after so many years? Incredible. Not sure what that is, if it's a cannon or what it is, but it's incredible. Seems to have had some kind of drainage system to prevent water from pooling up top here. There's the other fort. This must have seemed like a paradise to the soldiers working at this fort during the colonial era, especially when you compare it to some of the other positions that they could have been assigned to during that time period. All right, so that's 2 forts down, 1 to go. Let's go to the third one. This is wild. Better be worth it. I guess it's been a good while since someone went this way. Beautiful.
In 1614, this fort, known as King's Castle, famously drove away Spain's only ever attack on Bermuda. 2 shots were fired from its artillery, and although neither one of them struck their intended targets, they were still enough to convince the Spanish vessel to abandon its attack, as the vessel's crew didn't realize that the gunners in the fort would have only had enough ammunition for 1 more shot after that. This fort was also used as late as the Second World War by Bermuda's military garrison, with soldiers living in tents within its walls, watching over the channels with machine guns.
Wow, what a view. There's one of the other forts, Fort Bragman. What a spectacular place. You might not be in England here, but with this view, you feel like king of the world. It's hard to describe, but it's amazing. Incredible. What is this? Some kind of shed or something, or maybe for ammunition. There's the storage compartments there. Interesting. That raises lots of questions. There's Fort Bragman. Well, unfortunately, we don't have time for Fort Bragman, but we were able to cover these 3 forts on Castle Island, and they were incredible. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and I hope to see you on my next adventure.
Thanks so much for joining me on this journey. Don't forget that on my channel, I have countless videos of my past adventures, so I would love it if you check those out as well. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you on my next adventure.